emotional because it only comes around aspecting the earth every 248 years. So it's not something like the moon that every day you're going to be, okay, well, today is the moon in Scorpio. Yesterday the moon was in Libra. Yesterday I kind of wanted to be nice, and today I'm like all intense and like, you know. But tomorrow it'll change. So these aspects are something that we're only going to have an opportunity to experience these very rarely. It's not something that that many people may not even experience the influence, the direct influence of Pluto even in a lifetime. So that's why it's very rare, and I don't know if it's wonderful, but it's a wonderful, yes, it's a wonderful opportunity. And the reason it's wonderful is because, let's see, let me look with my third eye. Oh, my psychic eye says that everybody here is a revolutionary evolutionary. So we're basically here at this time frame, 2012 to 2015, to be the change we want to see happen, to anchor in and to awaken and to show the way, to show a new way. Ford has a better design, to show a new design, a better design, how to hold the higher frequencies that are coming into the planet. So we are the receiving stations of these higher frequencies, and then through the Plutonian influence, we get to, as we're hit by that, we get to be inspired ways that we want to share that with other people, whether we open up a center or we have classes with beautiful high frequency sounds or whatever it is. It's basically, if you think about it, think about what you want your contribution to be or what your contribution is as a portal. I call it portals for mortals. Bonnie and I came up with that meditating one time. So think about it like, what would be a portal to another way of seeing the world, an expanded way of seeing the world? So we are the portal holders. We're holding this portal of the new way of being during these events, during these 7 astrological events. So yogically, what we'll be doing, so what I really want to do is I really want to prepare your field, your nervous system to receive these new frequencies. So we're going to be doing, we'll be doing some gentle moving and a little shaking and listening to the bowls. And it's all about resetting the nervous system. The first thing that Yogi Bhajan ever talked to us about, at least when I started listening to him lecture in the 70s, was he was saying that the most important thing to prepare for this time, to prepare for the Aquarian age, is to open up your nervous system so you can be able to handle the new frequencies without freaking out. You know, he was talking about there'll be a time when people go insane and, all these things. And I was actually listening to the radio last night, coast to coast, and I slept through most of it. I love to listen to that. I slept through most of it. But the part that I actually heard was they had somebody talking about all the, what do they call it, psychoactive pharmaceuticals, the things that, the Prozac, the depression stuff, psychotropic, is that the word? Yeah. And how they're giving the pharmaceuticals, how they just pass them out, like they're saying, like, he was saying, like, young kids in the military, like 20-year-old boys going off to Afghanistan or wherever, Iraq. He said they were giving them prescriptions of these heavy psychotropic drugs for like 6 months worth of, and just sending these 20-year-olds off with guns. And I said, these kids don't know what they're doing. What are they going to take all of them at once if they freak out or something? Or they don't. How the culture is becoming this culture that's really gone out of control, trying to control the insanity. I'm just putting some words on it. And how, conversely, like a lot of people, older people who, elders who maybe are in assisted living or nursing care, they're just drugging them too. He's like, so they die fast or whatever. It was awful. Like, instead of like maybe bringing in pets and having people be part of the community and having them, babysit children or whatever. It's just how there's this whole level of the culture of like people not really learning how to handle, life. So I feel that this is the moment when I heard this person talking on Coast to Coast last night. I feel that this is that moment that Yogi Bhajan was talking about, saying that, people are just going to be out of control. They're just going to be insane, and they need a nervous system to handle the frequencies that will be coming through. So I think this is the moment. So what I'm saying is, what we'll be doing in a few minutes is we'll be doing things to balance our nervous system, to release old imprints, so that we can be free to flow and enjoy the new frequencies, because they're higher frequencies. So they can be something that we can experience as very, even psychedelic. Maybe you're seeing colors, maybe you're having vivid dreams. So we can experience and enjoy these new frequencies rather than basically feeling just pressurized and crazy and trapped. So there can be a real feeling of entrapment, and that's the frequency of the square, where you're coming up against something. You're coming up against part of yourself that needs to realign. You're coming against part of your nervous system that needs to let go. It could be an unconscious belief. So Pluto first has to do with the unconscious. So when you think about Plutonian energies, it's like, okay, what are my childhood wounds, or, past life imprints, and I work with that with people in sessions, what's the karma number? What happened that you don't remember, So we need to move through that really quickly. So if you feel that intense energy, like the fight or flight, like I feel so much pressure, I've just got to get out of here, just take a walk and breathe and just notice what your thoughts are, and then you can work with those thoughts and take them to a higher level. So that's what Pluto does. First, it confronts you with your subconscious unresolved wounding, so to speak, and then once you can work with that and know, okay, this is just this intense feeling is just a wounded place that I'm feeling. Now what I can do is I can take that to the level of the next level. What's the gift from that? What's the divine trying to tell me? What do I need to do to take that to the transpersonal spiritual level? So this period of time, these 7 squares are really about spiritualizing matter. So the first matter you got to start with is your gray matter. That's what matters most when you're stuck in your head, right? So in yoga, we say we have 10 bodies. So the first body is, all you yogis, we've been talking about this, the soul body. Thank you, Liz. Thank you very much. I'm humbly appreciate that you heard me last week.
I heard you years.
You've heard me many times. You heard me in Hawaii. And from thenceforth unto eternity. So there's 10 basic bodies, 10 members, 11 being mastery. So everybody has a soul. That's the first one. So who we are as spiritual beings on the planet is we're these light, or that we have this light body. So we bring this, so in terms of spiritualizing matter, so that's what we're here to do. So we bring the light of our soul into physical manifestation. Now the second thing that happens, 2, 3, and 4, is we hit the mind, we hit the gray matter. So when the baby's in the wound, yeah, that's where you get wounded. In the wound.
In the wound, well.
In the wound, right. No problems when you're floating around. The first wound. The baby's you're hit by thoughts. When you're out of your body in the ethers, you're not affected by what people on the earth are thinking, just to let you know. Or what you're thinking either. So the next 3 pieces that we get to work with, I almost said get to work with, are the negative, positive, neutral minds. So we get to direct the light of our soul into our mind. So if you have a thought that's stopping you, the square, we're talking about hitting this square within ourselves. So if you have a thought that's squaring you, you know, forcing you to look at it in the face, squaring off with you, some scary thought outside of you, what you do is you send the light, you can direct the light of your mind, the light of your soul through your mind, keep going, don't stop at the scary thought, move into your positive mind, oh, I can get through this, you know, to your neutral mind. And that's what we work a lot with yoga, with the breath, getting into our neutral mind. And we're going to do some exercises tonight to practice getting into our neutral mind, where you can stand back and look at what the thought is, what the thinking is, that you need to have what the observer position is. So in other words, if it's like a childhood wound, you move into, okay, at that time, I wasn't there to parent myself, but now I can reparent myself, and I can, you know, talk to my inner child, and we can work through this. So that's 2, 3, and 4. So the light of, directing the light of your soul first through the mind, then 4, then 2, 3, and 4, then 5. The 5th body is physical body. So then once we can get into the neutral mind, we can come into our physical body, into our heart chakras. So it's also coming into our heart. So now we can embody the neutral mind. We can embody the observer. We can move forward as the teacher. So the physical body is the teacher. This is how we learn on the physical plane, one of the ways, through the senses. So the physical body is our teacher. Then the next thing that happens, the next 3 bodies are the next 3 bodies are the
emotions?
Spiritual bodies, 6, 7, and 8. So you have what's the 6th body? Arc line, or third eye. The 7th body is the aura. So you have, the physical body, arc line, and all the energy, the spiritual energy starts coming out of the physical body. Remember, you're sending the light of your soul through your blank bodies. How many? Through your 10 bodies. Okay. We're almost there. 6, 7, and 8. We're going to move in a minute. But, okay. Third eye. So you have this arc line. It's like between the ears, like halo, like in religious paintings, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the light. So when you move into the light of your spiritual body, and you have uplifting thoughts, or you've gotten through your Plutonian woundings, and you move into a transpersonal state, which is where Pluto's taking us into a spiritual state, the most spiritual state possible, 248-year cycle, way out there. We're just dust to it. The only way that we can make sense of things is to go beyond our human identity to a spiritual identity. Now we don't have to feel crazy. That's the only thing that makes us live forever, is our spiritual identity. If we just think we're finite beings and, you know, we're going to be born, and then according to Pluto, 248, we're just not going to be here very long, and then our light goes out and it doesn't matter, we're going to feel really bad about ourselves. When you're identified with only being a finite being, you start to have really low self-esteem and feel really terrible about yourself. But when you can identify with being a spiritual being, a spirit that's eternal, which is what we are, a spiritual, eternal co-creator, that in this time and space you can claim that identity. Now your identity rests in your third eye, beyond time and space, in the 6th or the Ajna chakra. So until your identity rests here, if the identity rests in any of the other chakras, the identity, like identify, like if people just identify, as an example, with their 2nd chakra, then they just are lusting after, whatever, other bodies or something. It's any other identification leads to some amount of addiction. In other words, not being in control of your own destiny. So you want to bring your breath up. We'll practice in a minute, Focus the light out the third eye. Also project out spiritual thoughts. What's a spiritual thought? Such as a spiritual quality that you might want to project out to someone.
We are one.
Compassion, a prayer. So you can change the destiny. This is the time. So this is why this time is so important. In this time, when you can emanate spiritual light, okay? Soapbox moment, pink skin moment. In this time that you've incarnated, when you can emanate spiritual light into the field, into the quantum field, while in an earthly body, now you change the destiny. You literally change the destiny of the planet, of the culture, from a 3D, stuck in 3D culture to a spiritually based culture. So when you project light out your third eye and have that experience of an expanded feeling, like, you know, notice when you have the feeling of compassion that you would feel what? Don't you feel expanded? So you can notice your thoughts, your thinkings, your state of being. If you're feeling restricted, then Pluto's saying, you know, if something's squaring off, then you can ask yourself, you know, what is it that I'm feeling restricted about? And you can breathe and bring your breath up to your third eye and have an expanded feeling and connect with your spiritual self, with the light of your soul. And you can bring, with the light of your soul, bring compassion, empathy to your own self. So just, this is the time, this is the portal for expansion. So this is what I also call the portal of grace. With this configuration, we can easily move through our traumas and our wounds, and we don't need 10 years of psychotherapy anymore. We just need a yoga class.
Yeah, I just want to say this. In the morning when I woke up, it was absolutely the wound, very clearly, that I haven't thought about in a long time. Yes. Woke up exactly thinking of that. And immediately I felt light.
Yeah, it's that fast.
It was like incredible. I thought, I have to really work on this. Oh, that, yeah, I mean, in fact, it made me smile. I thought, wow, that's still there. I really have to work on this. And it was like light. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to work on it, but I really felt like a separate,
An upliftment. And see, so this is the gift of Pluto. So if you know that and you feel like really stuck in something, or you see somebody else that's stuck, and I'm going to give an example about that in a moment, the power of the light right now is I don't know what is intensified. The power of the light, the power of the possibility to transcend quickly is available. And it hasn't been available, you know, for 248 years or whatever, since the Renaissance, like this. So it's also the time to be aware, if you're feeling really miserable, that you can get unmiserable really fast. So it's a time of, you know, it's the best of times and the worst of times. Okay, so 6, 7, and 8. So 7, so once you can have the identity rest in the ajna, or the third chakra, which again we'll practice, so you can practice that at home. It's really simple. It's a posture, it's a position. I say enlightenment is a position. It's all positioning, right? 6, so you don't have to struggle. At this moment, enlightenment is a position. You may have had to struggle in the past life, but now you don't. So 6, 7, then that light comes into your aura, your energy field. So then people just come into your energy field and they feel uplifted. So I'm sure you've had that. People say, oh, I just want to hang out with you. I just want to be around you. You know, I'll have what she's having. You know, well, I'm having compassion for breakfast. I was miserable, but then I started having compassion. So then 7. The light comes in your aura, and then 8. What happens? What's the 8th body? Pranic body. So now, you literally, the prana We really exist on prana. So you literally become charged, like a charged particle. So the eighth body is the pranic field, or the connection with the infinite, and that has to do with the breath. So that's why the whole last week at class, and we'll do it again, but the whole class was on pranayama, right? So everything was breathing, and we practiced and moved, but everything was allowing the breath to move us. It was powerful, right?
Great class.
So 8, pranic body. 9 is the ninth body. We're almost there. Ninth body is
Subtle body.
subtle body, meaning meditative mind, going beyond time and space. So once you reach the elevation of the pranic field, you're connecting with the prana of spirit in the fourth dimension, in the quantum field. Everybody's heard about quantum physics, right? But you see, we have to have the energy, the prana. We have to go up to that frequency. It's not going to come to us. You know, you got to pull yourself up through those wounds, you know, to the sixth chakra. Once you can connect with the pranic field, you'll get sucked into the quantum field, and I'm sure you've all had that experience when you think about something that happens before you. But what if you're just in that quantum field all the time? That's what we're being prepared for, because, you know, be careful what you think about, right? Well, what if you're in the quantum field and everything you think about shows up? So, yeah.
Trouble.
That's what we're practicing. So now the ninth body is the meditative mind, or where you go beyond time and space, where you're no longer identified as a finite being. Now when you meditate, that's where you know you're a spiritual being having a human experience. That's where you know that for a fact. That's where you've learned that. That's where you've experienced that. That's where you've claimed that. Then you move into the 10th body, which is the radiant body. Now you radiate. Then you move into 11, 1 plus 1. Walking with spirit, mastery. Now you're a master. You and spirit are like buddies. And that's the promise of Pluto. Pluto says once you get through all of your petty stuff, because I'm so far away from you, you just look like a speck of dust on the horizon, and the sun is so dim, I don't even get sunlight. I'm so, you know, so I'm this icy energy that doesn't care at all about any of your, you know, petty stuff. And I'm going to stare you in the face. I'm going to stare you like I'm like the face of death, like looking in the eyes, and I'm challenging you, and I'm going to say to you every second until you wake up to me, are you a finite being that's going to die, or are you a spiritual being that's going to live forever? And what are you going to do about it right now? And that's what we're facing. So it could be a time of like facing like a lot of fear, or it could be a time of like bursting through and like really feeling, oh my gosh, I have the prana to connect with the quantum field. And once you walk into the room of the fourth dimension or the quantum field, now you're home. And now you're going to feel, I'm home. I'm a spiritual being. I know I'm a spiritual being. I'm claiming who I am, and I've come home to myself. And that's the gift that we have to bring onto the planet. We here have the gift to bring other people into this space, to bring other people home. And this is really a homecoming. This is a homecoming for Mother Earth, and we're just beginning it. So thank you. You are all my homecoming queens and queens. And we're going to have little flowers and maples and everything else that we want to have. So, okay, did you want to say something else? No? Okay. Questions? Comments? What?
10 was
Radiant body. So you start radiating all this good stuff. And so here's another pop quiz question. I just like to ask questions just to make sure that, you know, things you would have learned from Kieran had you been paying attention. So what bodies, when you leave the physical plane, and you know, we may all soon be ascending and taking our physical bodies with us and moving in and out of physical form as we choose. But, you know, when you leave the physical form, what bodies of your 10 bodies go with you between lives?
One.
The spiritual one.
1, correct. Yay.
Six,
1, and there's one other one.
6.
10.
There's one other one. 9, right. 1 and 9.
Really?
You had the light of your soul always. Always with you since you were incarnated the first time, since you were created, not incarnated, created. So I was, you know, I like to find out, let's see, what the average soul age, you remember what the average soul age when your soul was created? Would that be like a sort of little interesting thing that you like to know that right now?
Yes.
So let's see, the average soul age, let's see, 1,100,000, 200,000. The average soul age in this room is 1,300,000 years. So you're just very young, whatever physical age you are. So keep that in perspective. You've been around the sun, around the block, around the galaxies for a long time. And this is the lifetime you've been waiting for. You know, you may have been waiting like 1,300,000 years. And Yogi Bhajan says we have 8.4 million lifetimes. And it takes Uranus about 84 years to rotate around the sun, so let's see. Anyway, whatever, I don't know. Okay, so when you die, and drop this physical form and whatever, or take it with you, whatever. The first and the 9th bodies. So what you really want to do when you work with sending the light of your soul through your 10 bodies, you want to, in this lifetime, increase your prana, get to the 8th body, move through the spiritual bodies to penetrate the outer husk of the seed, of the kernel of your spiritual being, so that when you do that and you have as your identity that infinite meditative spiritual being, then when you leave your body, assuming you don't transcend and take it with you, but if you do, or when you do, now you've taken your spiritual mastery with you. Now what this means is you have now moved from karma to dharma, which means you've jumped off the force, the gravitational or karmic force. You have the spiritual liftoff energy to move beyond the astral plane. So you're not stuck, not having a choice. You're stuck reincarnating with karmic tendencies. Now you can come back as an avatar if you choose. Nobody's like saying you don't have to come back. It's just like, you know, penetrate to the level of the 9th body, to the level of your meditative mind. So when you leave out the crown chakra, and now you're in the realm of you can now work with the masters. You can work with the ascended masters, which is what we're doing. Because we have Yogi Bhajan, and he works with us, and you know, anytime you want to talk to him, you can. And I do calls on Tuesdays also, and he comes through and he laughs and gives us a hard time, and clearing our karma, you know. So that's what I give you as the possibility to have as a map of what the portal for mortals is happening at this time all over this. And just one more quick little thing, and then we're going to move because you've all been so patient. Nobody's bored, are they? Questions? Some people have seen my pictures, but in case you haven't, you get to see them. And if you've seen them before, you get to see them again. So I had an experience in Hawaii when we were doing a teacher training there. on the Big Island, and we had a group of beautiful Shaktis, 20 women, and we meditate together in the mornings, our sadhana, 6 a.m. every morning. And we opened up this huge portal the last day and these Mayan shamans came to me, and they humbly requested of me, they said, you know how to work with Kundalini energy, and many people are bringing our teachings through in books and written form and talking about it, but nobody's really bringing them to life with the Kundalini energy, and these teachings, these dimensions that we're talking about are live, living frequencies. And would you be so kind as to bring the life force into what the Mayans have given us as the 10 dimensions? So the 10 dimensions correlate with the 10 bodies. They work together. And I just made some pictures for you so you don't have to read manuscripts that are written in stone in case you can't find the whole piece, because there's a lot of it was destroyed. So I drew pictures out of their request, things you would have learned in kindergarten had the Mayans been teaching you. They would have had you draw these pictures. So I drew some pictures of the 10 dimensions that we are moving through at this time for mastery. So we learned about the 10 bodies which correlate. And I'm not exactly sure how to work with these pictures, but maybe I'll just point them out and somebody might want to walk around and show them to people more, but we'll do that. The first dimension that the Mayan shamans tell us about that we're moving through is the connection with the center of the earth. It's the crystalline frequency. So I used to always think when people used to say to me, you know, okay, now we're going to ground and get grounded. Oh, how boring. And we feel very heavy and like stuck to the earth. And I want to be very airy and light. I don't want to burn here. I want to be out there, flying through galaxies. But then when I realized that the center of the earth is crystalline, and that when we connect with the center of the earth, that the mother right now at this time is releasing her crystalline frequencies for those that can receive it. And this is the basis of where the Kundalini energy comes from that charges us up. I got all excited. I'm like, oh, I just want to be connecting with the earth all the time. And then the second dimension is, these are the roots of the trees. So this has to do with what we don't see, like the elemental kingdom, like little fairies and things. Who likes fairies? I do. So that's like the elementals, the things that bring life, that sustain life, that we don't see with the naked eye. That's 2D, second dimension. 3D is everything we see around us. This is the leaves of the trees and everything we see, what's above ground. Now what we're moving out of in this culture is we're moving from 3D to 4D and beyond. So 3D, when people can only believe what they see, that's called duality. And that's called wars, and that's called power over, and right, wrong, good, bad. I'm good and you're bad because I say so, or because I got some belief in my head. So that's 3D. So the fourth dimension is here. When we have fourth dimensional awareness, we move into the fourth dimension, which is also what is the fourth body. This is part of the correlation. Neutral mind. So when you can move into your neutral mind as the observer, you will observe the Hindus call it Leela, the play of creation. And what the Hindus tell us is that creation happens because of polarity. So you'll just start to notice that we need polarity. We need men, women, light, dark. We need polarity. We need hot, cold, fans on, fans off. If we don't have polarity, we don't have creation.
Can you talk about Leela for a second? Give me words.
Leela is what the Hindus call the play of the divine. So they're saying life is a divine play. And we're all players upon the stage, right, Hamlet?
Yeah.
So that's what the Hindus call it. They're saying it's just a play, everything, we're just playing everything out. And Leela is the play of the divine. So when you can move into the fourth dimensional awareness, you can see the divine in the play. Like you're like, well, that's so perfect. You know, I was just all upset about, okay, this is something, oh, maybe I shouldn't say this example. It's kind of poignant. Okay, it's personal. I'll say it anyway. When you can see like something comes to you that is about you, but it's somebody else's quote unquote problem or situation, and then you realize that the universe is trying to teach you something too, like I had an experience with a friend who stayed with us who was going through a separation from his wife, and she basically, they've been together 20 years, didn't want to give him any of the money, and he was like living in our backyard in a tent. And I was telling him he needed to stand up for himself, and you know, like they needed to figure the money thing out. And we were play acting it out very dramatically. And then I realized that I had a situation where I needed to clean up some financial things with my last partner, and I actually sent him an email and said, hey, I never got my divorce money. That wasn't the first time I asked him, and he actually responded. This is like, you know, 10 years later. Actually responded and said he thought he could pay me. I was like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
So there's an example of when I could see like how perfect it was that this person who was like camping in my backyard because he hadn't claimed, you know.
I see that all the time in other people.
Right. So that's Leela. That's not only the play, but the play of the divine, that it's being played out for us to learn from. And there's a bigger intelligence than just our ego mind that goes, oh my God, I don't want this, I don't want that. You know, I don't want that to happen when you realize that the divine is here serving us. And one thing that Yogi Bhajan said to us is like, you have to serve your creation. Have you ever noticed if you had a kid, you have to like keep like helping them out? Anybody ever notice that phenomenon as kids? You know? Like, you have to serve your creation. Well, that's how it is with the divine. The one that created us shall serve you. That's Leela. So just notice, instead of like reacting to your circumstances, that maybe a bigger intelligence is trying to like get you to like learn something from this and take your power, whatever it is that you need to learn. You know?
I asked you because Deepak wrote a book about golf, and Leela is in the book, and it's like a fantasy person. But now I got it, right? Because when you said that name, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
And it just,
Right.
I didn't have that information.
So does everybody understand that?
Amazing.
That when you can see the world through as the play of the divine and not personally, now you've moved from 3D to 4D. So the next time you react to something, you go, wait, Leela, play of the divine, how is this supposed to be serving me here, you know? Now you've just moved into the fourth dimension. And then you move into the fifth dimension, the heart. And this is where you can act, now you can feel love, you can feel compassion for yourself. I could feel compassion for my friend who was like really suffering, living in the tent in the backyard with no car, his car just broken down, and no money, and feeling very trapped. I could feel compassion, and then I was like, wait, I need to feel compassion for myself too. You know, this happened to me too. So that now once you can see that, now, until you can see this, you can't feel compassion. You're just reacting. If you think something's being done to you, if you're just in your, you know, negative mind or whatever, if you haven't penetrated the light of your soul. So now you can actually feel real compassion. It's not just, you know, as my NBC teachers used to say, empathy from hell. It's the real quality. Who wants the real thing? You can tell when it's like really quality love, like somebody that actually listens to you and repeats back to you what they heard you say, like, wait a minute, you know, like somebody really actively listens. Is that wonderful or what? As opposed to, you know, you're talking and they're like, I don't know, texting or something, right?
Yeah, they're like,
right. You know they're not present to you.
Right.
So that's 3D. Okay, now, then we move into the sixth dimension, which is what I said. When your identity rests in the Ajna chakra, the sixth dimension. Now, that's the center of vision. Now, the sixth dimension just happens to be sacred geometry. Now you can create from pure form. You're not confined to what's already been created, and that's what the Uranus-Pluto square is telling us. You are creator beings. Come on, let's have a new program here. Let's have a new plan. I'm just showing you what doesn't work. Now you get to be the creators now. The earth is giving you the energy to come up with a better way. And then we have the last page. Then we have the seventh dimension. Now we go into the realm of pure sound, the anahata, the unstruck sound, the pure consciousness, and that's where Damien's going to take us in a little bit. That's where he takes it with his bowls. Then we have the eighth dimension. And so what body did I say the eighth body was?
Pranic.
Pranic body. So we move into the pranic body. We move into the dimension of having the energy is so purified that now we can receive. Once we can get clear with the pure sound, now we can receive pure information coming from the ninth dimension, or the center of the Milky Way galaxy, which is what the Mayans tell us happens. Our sun lines up with the center of our galaxy every so often. How long? 26,000 years. So just in case you waited a long time to incarnate, this would be the moment. So we can receive direct transmissions from spirit through our divine mind once we're clear enough to hear, and down through all the dimensions.
So is that divine mind spirit when you forget your keys and you go, oh Dad, I left them in the house on the counter, and you go back in and get them, and then they get.
My divine mind spirit is, what I do is when I can't find something, and Gabe and I do this all the time, I clear this field, clear the midline like this, clears the left and right hemispheres of the brain so they can communicate to each other. And I just go mantra for lost things, and then it kind of shows me where it is. There is this long, complicated mantra that my sister has memorized, but since I never could get through memorizing the whole mantra, I just go mantra for lost things, and it works just as well. I just want you to know that's like a freebie that you got tonight, that little shortcut. I'm not making you memorize a long Sanskrit mantra to find your keys next time you use them. Right, Gabe? It works all the time.
So you just say mantra for last.
Okay, let's all do this. Put your right hand up, put above your head, fingers forward like an antenna, and go down the midline of your body from your crown chakra down to the center of the earth. You feel that, you can do this anytime, like if you get stuck in your, negative mind or something. Just clear the midline. It allows the right and left sides of the brain to start communicating with each other. So you clear the midline, so you can clear it of anything. And then I just say, I think of what it is that I'm trying to find. So I could say, where's my keys? And then I just say mantra for lost things. I say it out loud, right, Gabe? And then I'm like usually, oh, there it is, or I'm like, I'm usually drawn to it. So.
When I lose my mind.
What?
When I lose my mind.
You're in the meditative mind.
You're talking, so.
I forgot to put my microphone on, but if it comes out, yes, you can. Okay.
So
Otherwise, I'll tape it because I do recorded calls every Tuesday, so I can give you my recorded speaking of expanded cell, you all get to stand up right now. You've been so patient, listening to all this.
Mesmerized us.
Did I mesmerize you? Good.
Yes.
So just go ahead and shake your legs out. And remember to take lots of turmeric if your knees are sore. We talked about golden milk last week. So Yogi Bhajan gave us golden milk and we started doing yoga to clear the toxins. So you take whatever kind of milk you like and you boil a little turmeric while you're shaking your legs, and I'm just entertaining you. And just start shaking out. Notice what moves and just start kind of moving the gut still. So you boil some turmeric in water till it's a paste, and you get a little almond oil and a little honey, and you heat up your coconut milk and almond milk, and you put a little turmeric and like about a teaspoon of almond oil and a little honey, and you drink it warm before you go to sleep. Anyway, that will clear the toxins from your joints, and it tastes really good too. So this is the part of the program where we're working with resetting our nervous system, which will end with gaming, playing the bowls in a little bit. But as Yogi Bhajan used to say, no liberation without labor. So we're going to move a little bit. It's going to be a labor of love. So just see if you can find what moves, and especially in the knee, and then just kind of spread your toes and curl your toes up and bend your knees, and pick up one foot and then the other. And this is the part with you're connecting with the first dimension, with the earth, with that crystalline frequency, because I always laugh about those pictures of the chakras with the tiny little red dot that says, that's your first chakra. I'm like, that ain't my first chakra. My first chakra is this. It's just this, it's the feet, it's the legs, and it comes all the way up. So I laugh. So when you think about the first chakra, you can think about your legs being like the roots of the tree. So just see what your legs want to do to loosen up. Because we're going to go through the 10 bodies and the 10 dimensions and let everything connect. And as we do so, we're going to be recalibrating and resetting the nervous system.